Hi, it's Sadhana, and I am here with part 2. Welcome back. This is the story of the cups, and it is called The Magic Celandine. These stories are from the Mystic Faerie Tarot, illustrated by Linda Ravenscroft and written by Barbara Moore. Once upon a time, in a strange part of the fairy world, betwixt the land and the water, there was a place that was neither land nor water. In this unlikely and uninhabited space, there grew a celandine on a lily pad. Since few fae passed this place, few knew it was there. Fewer still stopped to investigate. Years went by, and the few passers-by began noticing a tiny yet beautiful chalice that seemed to grow from this celandine. If any stayed around long enough, they noticed that it produced odd bubble-like pearls, or pearl-like bubbles. No one knew for sure which. More time passed, and tales of the celandine grew into legend. It was said to be a magical place between the land and the water, where the seeds of true love grew from a strange cup-like flower. It was further said that if two fae passed through that area together and shared a seed of true love, they would be given a great gift. True love would bind them together forever. But such a gift came with a price. The two would have to successfully overcome many hardships or be fated to a lifetime of great loneliness, separated forever by their failure to nurture the gift of true love. Because more celandines kept growing in the area, the fae said that each time a pearl was shared, a new flower grew. Even the most adventurous fairies explored this land by themselves. While the promise of true love was bewitching, the consequence of being found unworthy was one they were not willing to risk. One day, a young, beautiful, and adventurous water nymph heard of the magical celandine with its promise of true love and went in search of it. Likewise, an equally young, handsome, and adventurous young wood elf did the same. They discovered each other, the magic celandine and a bubble-like pearl at the same time. Although they were from different races, she accepted the pearl when the elf offered it. Convinced of the legend's truth and promise, they pledged their love and commitment to each other. After frolicking, exploring, and laughing the day away with her new friend, the nymph went home. She gathered her friends to hear her tale, celebrate her great luck, and admire her pearl. They swam and danced and giggled as young girls do at the thought of romance. None of them had ever known an elf. They'd only heard stories. Her friends joked about the nymph loving an elf and made fun of the strange ways of the woodland dwellers. The nymph tried to ignore the jokes, but they hid in the back of her mind. The nymph and the elf met often in the celandine garden. They learned about each other, and at first found their differences delightful and exciting. After a while, though, they tired of talking about themselves. They began to focus on their differences, which eventually became annoyances. They wondered if there was enough commonality to hold the friendship together. The confused little nymph kept thinking about her friends and wondering if their jokes held more truth than she wanted to admit. Eventually, the nymph and the elf stopped visiting the celandine garden. Every once in a while, the little nymph found herself missing her elf and wondered what he was doing. She would see or do something that she wished she could tell him about, feeling a sharp pain that went deeper each time it happened. The crying spells became more and more frequent. She began to regret that she let her friend's words stay in her mind. She wished she had worked harder at the friendship. She no longer found comfort in her friends, becoming increasingly lonely and making her home far from her kin at the edge of the Celandine garden. The little water nymph's loneliness became greater, isolating her from her friends and all happiness. There was only one thing that brought her any relief from her sorrow. She spent days on end gazing into the pearl her elf gave her those long years ago in the Celandine garden. When she looked into it, she relived all their happy times. At first, she was surprised at how many beautiful memories they created together. She started to imagine all the wonderful memories as yet unmade and all the things she'd like to experience with him, if only she could. After one of her infrequent outings with her friends, which she found wholly unsatisfying, the lonely and unhappy nymph went home. As usual, she looked at her pearl. It was blank. She saw nothing. She remembered the legend and wondered if her memories would be taken from her, leaving her with only a great emptiness. She realized that she was at a crossroads and a choice was before her that would decide her fate forever. She could embrace the nothingness, or she could admit her mistake and find her dear wood elf. He may not want her, but she could at least try. The water nymph, while glad to have made a decision, is not quite sure how to find the wood elf. She has never been in the woods. She doesn't know how to survive there. She has no idea how vast the woods might be. She has absolutely no way to know how to find him. As she wanders around the Celandine garden, searching for inspiration or even a tiny idea, she meets and befriends a dragonfly who knows where several elfish villages are. After hearing the nymph's tragic tale, the dragonfly agrees to help her to find her beloved elf. After some extraordinary and dangerous adventures with the dragonfly, the water nymph finally finds her wood elf. He has been as sad and lonely as she. Both of them had been longing, dreaming, and wishing. As they joyfully embrace, they feel like all their wishes have been fulfilled, and all the years of pain are swept away in one sweet moment. Their devotion and commitment is rekindled, tempered with the wisdom of time and experience. They both feel lucky that they learned their lessons before it was too late. Years later, they are still together, living a life neither in the water nor on the land, neither entirely nymph nor entirely elf, but a life totally unique to themselves. They spend their days together happy and grateful. They treasure their pearl, the symbol of their love, the love that brought them together in the first place and gave them a second chance. They've discovered that they have no problem finding things to do together. And when they run out of things to talk about, they are content enough just being in each other's presence. Sometimes love takes time, but mostly it takes effort. Always seek understanding and reconciliation.